Oh, wow.
All right, so you'll probably see in your up somewhere on your screen it'll say recording somewhere because it
Oh, it is. Yes, it is recording.
has to say that legally. um, all right. So here's the story. There are myriad opportunities for kids and families. Like there are structured camping experiences. There are also individual activities and all kinds of things going on. So I'm going to go through a whole bunch of stuff. And like I said, if you have questions, you can ask them along the way. If you want to hold them and make a note or whatever, I'll be happy to address whatever questions there
Mhm.
are. But so some of these things, like I said, they're structured programs. Some of them are just ideas about, how to find. And then because we're recording this, you don't necessarily have to take notes if you don't want to, but you can. But you're also welcome to just go back through and slow down, and you can kind of see where we are. So the reform movement has a whole array of resources. One of the things that they have is an opportunity for people to kind of have resources for how to obviously talking about the whole coronavirus situation with kids. We have people in our congregation who are available to be of help, but all sorts of kind of um, perspectives and ideas about how to talk with kids. Wendy Mogul is well known for a bunch of books. Some of the titles are familiar: "The Blessing of a Skinned Knee," "The Blessing of a B minus," right? Voice lessons for parents: what to say, how to say it, and when to listen. Right, so she's spoken at the Reform Movement's biennial before, and so she's, I mean, even how she starts, right? Let's start with a silver lining. What's the benefit of having school children home for an extended period of time? So she goes with all these things. Here are lots of excuse me, opportunities to kind of get a perspective on how to talk about this stuff. Then there's also resources for teenagers, for teens and parents. Teens are going through all sorts of things, and so and some are just kind of processing it, and some are taking it much harder than others. Some have a more established, robust support system than others, and so there are lots of different resources that are going to be more important for kids depending upon who they are as kids. So here are some resources and things to think about: acknowledging losses, recognizing feelings, learning about grief, and then all these additional links. We're going to get to some of these links actually. Judaism under quarantine, ideas for experimenting and embracing your Judaism from home. Um, there's a website we're going to look at, homeschooling. That's become a regular term that people have adopted. And then some crisis information: Teen Lifeline, Crisis Text Line, National Suicide Prevention Lifeline, the Trevor Project for LGBTQ, and the National Alliance of Mental Illness. So lots of resources that are out there, and some high school stuff. But this is a good resource also. Then this is the homeschooling under quarantine, fun Jewish videos for virtual learning. So lots of suggestions about what to do to make Judaism come alive at home. Talking about the weekly Torah portion, and there are this video of the week I think comes from a place called Bim Bam. Bim Bam is a great website. It's mostly for younger kids. Uh,
Right, our kids are a little bit older at this point.
Not Michael.
Except, yeah, Michael, but he's not 7 anymore.
right. Watch something Jewish. So there's all kinds of videos about the weekly Torah portion, about, and they're cartoons. So some of the like, the tweens or the preteens, they still get into it, and there's all different kinds of stuff going on. So anyway, this is a great website, Bim Bam. Great website. Then there's all kinds of opportunities, links. That we're going to get to this website here in just a second. That's coming up. 9 Jewish activities to try when you're cooped up at home with the kids. Just ideas about how to make Judaism come alive. Do some arts and crafts project, and everybody create something for the table. Set the table differently. Decorate the room differently. That's Bim Bam. Then, of course, my personal favorite: how to master tie dye. There's a whole tie
Yeah,
dye instruction,
yeah.
things to get. Easy steps. I'm also available to help if anybody needs
I know your way
if
around
anybody
it.
if anybody wants some personal input. I'm happy to tie dye along with anybody. And then there are also links to family activities or all these hyperlinks that keep on going in in all these different directions. Then this is Judaism under quarantine. 25 Jewish things to do under quarantine, right? And so there's all kinds of things for different people in different stages of life. There's Tat Shabbat on Saturday mornings. There are podcasts to listen to, prayers and blessings, all kinds of Jewish life at home, homeschooling under quarantine. That's what we just went there. 9 Jewish activities. That's we're getting to next. 14 great Jewish TV shows to binge under quarantine. Right, I don't need to read this to you, but 10 movies showcasing the best of American Jewish life, talking with children, and there's all kinds of again link, recipes, all sorts of recipes for challah, for different traditional Jewish dishes. A lot of people are doing a lot of cooking and baking, and so there's a lot of ideas out there. So 9 Jewish activities to try when you're cooped up at home with the kids. And here are some, make items for your Shabbat table, right? And then of course they give you links to you can go to these different places and different ideas about how to do these different things. Have an at-home dance party again. Sometimes, it's funny. A colleague of mine used to say that age appropriate can mean one of two things. It can mean it has to be something the child can handle. It also has to be something the child can relate to. So, for example, if you ask a kid in kindergarten or first grade to finger paint, they'll have a ball. If you ask like a high school senior to finger paint, they'll have a ball. But you try to get a seventh grader or eighth grader to finger paint, it's not going to happen. So,
Yeah.
so age appropriate doesn't necessarily mean the same thing depending
I
upon.
think I love to finger paint. I don't think you have to be. There's no age for that.
I know, right? So, but it's like it's like little kids have their little like Hello Kitty stuff and their Mickey Mouse stuff, and then in junior high, ooh, forget it. But then in high school, all of a sudden it becomes cool again to wear the fuzzy slippers and everything. So, things go in cycles. Um, bring home a bit of Jewish summer camp. We're gonna talk about that because we have lots of camp programs in a second. Uh, the Reform Movement has a specifically science and technology summer camp. Also has a creative arts camp. They're doing programs this summer. We're going to talk about that in a second. Learning about Israel. You can watch videos from Shalom Sesame for the younger kids, so that whoever's watching this, and then ideas for teaching kids about Israel. Go on a field trip without ever leaving home. So find a blank wall behind you, and you can have your own virtual background, and so you can go to different places and you can download pictures. One of the things I'm going to do with the junior youth group this summer is I'm going to take them to Israel. Sometime in August, we're going to do a trip to Israel for the younger kids. So I'll have the background changing behind me, and I'll say now we're at the Dead Sea, and then we'll be at the Dead Sea. So anyway. And you can establish new rituals at home, things to do, a prayer to say in the morning, a song to sing at night, some kind of keeping time. One of the great things about Shabbat is that it keeps us all in a pattern. Some people are losing track of time and day, but we're lucky. We have Friday night and Saturday. We know it's Shabbat, and so it kind of anchors us. And so as the rest of the days kind of meld together, Shabbat comes, and we kind of have this moment of kind of regaining our footing. Lots of cooking is going on in people's homes all over the place. conversations. There are lots of opportunities to have conversations, and there are these cartoons that I was just showing you on Bim Bam, but there are also study guides, and some of these links will lead to opportunities to kind of ask questions about the Torah portion for all different ages. Connect with people you love. PJ Library books, they're really for the younger kids. So if someone's watching this and you're not receiving PJ Library books, please make sure you reach out to me so we can get you on that list. Basically, they're just free Jewish themed books that get sent home thanks to this foundation. And if you're not receiving it for your younger children, let me know, because it's sitting there waiting for someone to receive it. Prayer of gratitude. We do that every Shabbat service. We take a moment to recognize the blessings and to acknowledge the blessings and to sanctify the moment and to share our blessings with everyone else. So there are all these different then crafts, and more crafts. I mean, there's all kinds of things, some basic stuff like apple printing that I did when I was a kid, apple, potato, the whole bit. But there's all kinds of stuff going on. So this is another, another opportunity for there to be a lot of things. Here's a Torah study page on the Reform Movement's page, and so you can find all sorts of things weekly. You can find the calendar. 10 minutes of Torah is great. 10 minutes of Torah it's free to sign up. And what you do for 10 minutes of Torah is every morning something comes to a little 10-minute video comes to your email address, either Jewish Life, Reform Voices of Torah, Jewish Arts and Culture, right? These are different, they kind of rotate around. And so you get this video from some leader in the movement who has prepared this kind of teaching session. And as Rabbi Eric Yaffe, who was the president of the Reform Movement a number of years ago, said, if we can't take 10 minutes out of our day to study something really worth kind of nourish the soul, he's like, what are we doing? Right? So for 10 minutes, this 10 minutes of Torah comes in nice and handy. Then it always has the weekly portion, or you can switch to whatever portion you want. And then there are Torahs for tots, Torah for tweens, Torah for teens, tips for leading a weekly family Torah discussion. You can talk about stuff at the table. Rabbi Rick Jacobs, who is the current president of the Reform Movement, has a blog called has a podcast, On the Other Hand, and he does a lot of teaching, and that's great. A lot of different webinars and things, all different ways to learn about the Talmud, the Mishnah, the Tanakh is the acronym for Torah, and prophets and writings, right? All how to write a Devar Torah, all these different things. So let's see, Torah for teens, and different, whatever the portion is, there are different Divrei Torah. So let's see, this coming week is Chukat and Balak. So we're in Numbers and Shabbat Sharap. All right, so this was taken at the Reform Movement summer camp called Kutz. I recognize it right away. Kutz Camp is the high school, specifically for high school kids. You have to be going into 10th, 11th, or 12th grade in order to be a camper there in the first place. Kutz doesn't operate on its own anymore. It's kind of been shared with all the rest of the camps, but there are so these are, I'm not going to play it because I don't know, I haven't heard it yet, and but I'm sure it's completely appropriate. But anyway, and it's up on the web. But so they have this thing called a Shabbat Sharap. And so they make up raps, and they rap about the Torah portion. Anyway, lots of different ideas, and then there are other commentaries about it. So there are ways to have discussion guides, and quite frankly, even some of the stuff that that's for younger kids. If you have older kids, you can find information or questions that are geared towards younger kids, and you can just change the questions around, right? So this is a story for younger kids, but taking the gist of the story, and talk about lashon hara, gossip. right? These questions, you don't have to ask them the way they are, but they at least they're ideas about how to have conversations about things going on in this week's Torah portion. Anyway, more 10 minutes of Torah. So that's the signing up for that. Then there's a company that's not connected with the Reform movement specifically, Manemshi Films, and they're kind of like a Netflix type thing for like specifically Jewish films. And they were running a special earlier on in the COVID thing where they offered free membership through, I think, through July. So I'm not sure if they still have it, but this is a great resource for Jewish themed films specifically for all ages. Then we start getting into the virtual programming specifically for youth. This particular page has information about all of not all, it's not as complete as it could be, but a lot of the different things, camping things that are going on around the country. So you can see, Camp George is the Reform Movement's camp in Canada. This Campfire on Tour is really great. A bunch of different artists have gotten together with the Reform movement, and every Sunday night at 8, there's this campfire on tour. So what they do is they have so this last week was Nefesh Mountain. These guys are awesome. They're all awesome. Don't get me wrong. So they're a bluegrass Jewish music group, and all of these people are people that kids who go to camp regularly know and love, because these people come to camp and they spend like a day or two at each of the camps during the course of the summer. And I mean, these kids know them. And so every Sunday night at 8 during the course of the summer is this Campfire on Tour, basically a private concert for an hour. And what we're going to do starting in July, starting with the 12th of July, every Sunday at 7:30, we're gonna get together as a congregation. I'm gonna make it a junior youth group thing, but it'll be open to anybody at 7:30, and I'll teach a song or two that artist that night will likely do during the campfire. I won't know for sure, but and some of these people we actually all know, but we don't realize we know. Like for example, Dan Nichols. He's a great guy, and he wrote one of the things that we do that he wrote is one of the Micha Mocha melodies. Lai 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 Micha Mocha ba'elim Adonai. No ra tehilot. So that's his melody. Alana Arian, when I was a camper at Kutz Camp, her parents were my music counselors when I was in the choir as a Kutz camper, and her father was the president of NIFTY, and her mother taught me how to play guitar in rabbinical school. Anyway, so Alana, one of the things that she wrote is Licha dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat mekabela. That's one of the things we do pretty regularly here. So she wrote that. Michelle Citron, we teach some of her stuff in music, but we don't do a lot of her stuff during worship services. Josh Nelson, we do some of his stuff in music also. Lador Vador, Noam Katz, we do some of his stuff in our music class as well. Noam, when I was a unit head at Eisner Camp back in 1990 and 1991, Noam was one of my campers. So I've known him for a long time. Julie Silver is actually a friend of my predecessor, Rabbi Orak, and so Julie Silver has actually been here and has been to Brit Achim. And Rick Recht is kind of like, he's very prolific, and he's got a lot of stuff out there that we do in our music class here at TBA, and again, all the kids at camp, I mean, they all know. So every Sunday night at 8 is a different artist, and at 7:30, we're going to do a Zoom thing starting on July 12th with Alana Arian's night, and I'll teach a couple of songs that will likely be heard later on in the campfire experience. So that's Sunday night. That's all free. Where were we? To do the films, these, so like beginner guitar lessons, then sports trivia. So a number of years ago, the Reform movement realized that all of these niche camps are popping up all over the place, and sports and fine arts. So the Reform movement said, let's get in on that. So they started a specifically Reform movement Jewish sports camp, and and it was wildly popular. So now we have three. The Reform Movement has one on the East Coast, one in California, and one in Israel. Then the Reform Movement said, let's start a science and technology summer camp. So now we have three. We have SciTech East, SciTech West, and then SciTech in Israel. And then the Reform Movement said, let's start a creative arts academy with fine arts and whether it's whichever side of the camera you're on, the performing and culinary arts and all these different things. And that's been open. This is the third summer now, and the director of the fine arts camp, she and I were campers together at Kutz Camp a million years ago. Camp Carlsman is from California. All these different things that are going on all over the place that people are welcome to join in. The bubble is what they call the bubble at home. They refer to Eisner Camp and Crane Lake Camp. They're and 6 Point SciTech. That's the kind of the New England contingent, excuse me, New England cohort. And so they have programs at home, and they're a week long. The first week starts tomorrow, and then they have all these different activities. So you can sign up specifically for Eisner, for Crane Lake. They're just for people who have gone there for years. They have, very kind of, some are very loyal, and so they have their kind of their connection. I actually was a unit head at Eisner Camp a million years ago, so I'm kind of connected to Eisner Camp. So they divide the kids up by bunks, and so they ask you to, decorate your bunk and make your room look like you're at camp, as if you're really there. And then they have bunk time, so it's like a breakout room where the kids get together just by age. And then then they have like middle of the day is free, and then in the evening the kids get together again all together for some sort of song session and collective thing. So it's not a full day, but it starts off in the morning, has activities up until lunch and through lunch, and then at the end you get to go home. So there's you get to come at the end, you come back and you do like a nighttime ritual. So anyway, so that's Eisner and Crane Lake and SciTech. This is Harlem at Home. This is more specifically for regional. Now with technology, people are getting together all over the place. Originally, the idea behind the regional camps like Harlem in the Mid-Atlantic and Green Family Camp down in Texas was that anybody could go to any of the camps, but they're only allowed to market themselves to certain geographical areas, specifically because they want to foster they want to maximize the possibility of kids being able to connect with each other during the course of the year between summers. Like a kid from Florida can go to Camp George in Canada. It's just that they're not likely going to see those kids during the course of the year. So if you focus on a geographical thing, then it's more likely. So now we've got Harlem at Home. And so the first week starts tomorrow. We have I just got a registration list. We don't have anyone from TBA signed up for the first week, but there are over 20 kids from the Philadelphia area congregations, from Broomall and from Maple Glen and all the congregations in the area. There are over 20 kids signed up for this, and so this is what happens. It's you sign up for 1, 2, or 3 weeks. Starts the morning session at camp is called S'morning Camp Harlem, and at camp they would go to the lake, and they would raise the flag. Some counselor would tell a story. They'd sing a song. Then they'd go to breakfast. Then you have your bunk time. Then you have a specialty track. So whatever it is, whether it's Teva is nature, athletics, whatever it is, you're going to be in that track for the week. That's your major, if you will. So it's some kind of not recurring, but ongoing thing. So either it builds on what you learned the day before, or it's connected in some way. But this is an area that you're really interested in. And then you have your daily elective. So that changes each day. You can try different things, and again, it's all online, but there are different ways to do it. Then for the discussion groups at lunch, you can opt in and you can have lunch, on Zoom with people as if you're sitting in the dining room, the Chadar Ochel, and have conversations. And then you have the day to yourself. Then you come back together for an evening activity with your bunk or unit or whatever, however it is, depending upon the day. And then you have your nighttime ritual, just like at camp. They sing Hashkivenu every night, let us lie down in peace. They sing Shema every night. At camp, they'll walk around the circle talking about what was great about the day, and all that kind of stuff. So these are rituals that they now have kind of brought online, right? The song leaders, the Siyum Liyom, that's the closing of the day ritual. Siyum is an ending, and Yom is the day, so it's an ending to the day. So this is so in terms of registration, there are 3 weeks, and then there are things that are open to the community. So, for example, they advertise for everybody the Campfire on tour. There are community cookouts. So during the course of the summer, when people are actually at camp, the clergy and staff from congregations and lay leaders can come to visit camp and have a whole camp cooks out, and you get together by congregation, and then this way you can kind of have a little like congregational reunion. So not every rabbi or cantor, educator, youth advisor is blessed to have the opportunity to be at camp for 2 weeks like I get each summer, and so this is an opportunity for everybody to come together, and so they're doing that online. So there's going to be a cookout, a cookout online. Then there's some more other things going on. There's some individual, activities that are going on. But the structured experience is for any age. So you go to the what was that? All right. So there's a whole bunch of opportunities, frequently asked questions, right? Sample schedule. It's $100 for 1 week. It's $75 for each additional. So if you go 2 weeks, it's $175. But as I've been saying all along to everybody, I have resources. So money should never keep your child from going to camp. Always talk to me. We will make it happen. So that's a note that I want everybody to remember. And then this is just about, if you start to apply, then you kind of give information about what age and everything. Then for someone who wants a more, like, not specifically one particular camp, sometimes a lot of kids who are familiar with a camp or loyal to a camp because they've been going there for years, they kind of, they're all there because they want to see their friends, and that sometimes is even more kind of prominent than what's going on. It doesn't even matter because they're there with their friends from camp. This RJ on the Go is interesting because this is kind of a general international camp experience for everyone. And so there are different weeks with a different value or midah that is the theme for the week. And then they have all kinds of activities for families, for kids, and different age groups and all that kind of stuff. I already signed up, so let me get in there so we can click to join. All right, and I'm already joined, so let me say already have an account. And all right. So then we get in there, and this has more of a kind of a comprehensive experience. So you can go to the camp experience where you've got all these programs from Azrui's Olin Sang Ruby Union Institute. Excuse me, that's out in the Midwest. Creative Arts Academy, and it gives you an idea of the activity, and then let's see. Should probably give you an age group. I'm surprised the age group wasn't there to begin with, but Oh, great, all great. So I guess they, based on whoever signs up, they divide it up by ages. So you click on any given activity, and it'll give you an opportunity to sign up. So you can select by age. So if you want to say, let's say 10th graders, what's really there for 10th graders is a lot of things, and it tells you what day, and obviously there are pages and pages, right? And then there are specifically things that are for families together. Uh, um, let's see, families 4 to 7. This is grades. So, all right, you know, will it smush? Okay, what happens to something if you run it over with a car? Join us for an exciting exploration into pressure and watch live scientific experiments with physics using nothing but a car, a camera, and some random objects. That's great. Um, so one of the things that they do at SciTech every morning, uh, they have what's called Boker Big Bang. Boker Tov means good morning. So Boker Big Bang, they get together at the flagpole before breakfast and they raise the flag. They sing Moda Ani Lefanecha, thank you God for restoring my soul into me. They also sing the theme song to the Big Bang Theory, and then they blow something up. And they always do some kind of science experiment before breakfast. So this is not surprising what happens. Will it smush? Anyway, so those are all more activities. And again, there's the structured experience, and then there's the individual activities that you can sign up for and participate in. And I am, yeah, so for all grades, there's a lot of things. Then this is the campfire thing again. So there are myriad opportunities and lots of different places to go and things to do. Um, and if anybody has any questions, I will, I'm around. So reach out. We want to make sure that if someone wants to go to camp, they go, and we will make that happen. And just another note, if anybody has been watching and is still listening at this point, technology. I'm going to send out a message to the congregation. Schools have ended, and so a lot of kids have lost access to their computers. We have access to free computers for people. So even if you have computers, but you know that with a certain number of kids in your house, an extra computer would be helpful, or one less computer keeps them from accessing certain things. Let me know, because we have access to computers and can be helpful in terms of providing technology for people. So please let me know. So I think with that, I'm going to end the presentation. Anyone who wants any more information, you can go back and review the different links and visit and hyperlink your hyperlink to your own full enjoyment, and have fun exploring the web. And please make sure, if you have any questions, be in touch. And if you want your kid to go to camp, I will make sure that your kid goes to camp. So that's the story. Thank you for watching and participating. Now I'm gonna stop the recording. How do I do that? Let's see. Stop recording. Well, that's easy. Do you want to stop the recording? Yes, I do, in fact.